Good evening. This is the Township of Grosse Bridge Commission meeting, Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. I'd like to start with a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Could we take the roll? Secretary?
Yes, Supervisor Porcerelli
Here.
and Commissioner McCartney, Vice President,
Here.
Vice Chair, excuse me, and I'm here, Chris Allen Bailey and Chris Johnson,
Here.
and Chairman Smith Bauer,
Here.
and our Township Engineer, Mr. Sabat. Here. And our Finance Director. Thank you. And our Township Manager. Here. And our Bridge Manager. Here. Great, everyone is here.
Thank you. Additions or deletions to the agenda. I'd like to spend just a couple minutes at the end, just to touch base on where we're at with the logo design, and also just to get an update on where we are with the valet contract. Don't need too much, just want to get an update. Any other additions?
Nope.
Not for me.
There being none, can I get a approval of the agenda?
So moved?
Second? Somebody?
Second.
Second, moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Let's start with the financials.
Good evening, everyone. So now we're at the end of January, so we have the financials for the, thank you, month ended January 31st, 2026. So we had a few changes during the month. So one of the first things I wanted to highlight is we have a new asset account for prepaid expense. So in prior months, I talked about when we had new insurance policies come into effect that were not really in line with our fiscal year. And because of the significant amounts, we do a calculation to prorate that expense based on the number of months within our fiscal year and out beyond our fiscal year. So I actually, instead of waiting till the end of the year, I made that entry now. So the total entry amount was almost $400,000 between excess liability, insurance, and commercial property. And when we get to the revenue and expenditure report, you'll see a corresponding negative in the insurance.
Hold on 1 second. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. So that's based on how many months before and after March 31st. In the liabilities are two deferred revenue accounts I highlighted, and Patrick, this will probably explain our where we're at with the valet manager and parking base. So myself, the township manager, the operations manager had a meeting with parking base, which is the same thing, on February 2nd, and about three or four people from their company to try and resolve everything, which was in their best interest, because at that point we were behind almost 5 invoices. So we had a fairly productive meeting. One of the major things that we accomplished was we were able to pull a report that shows the balances of all the tag deposit amounts, the $28 amounts and $25 from before, and the account balances. How much do they have as far as crossings go? So we actually got figures from them. They showed us how to pull up the report so we can go in, pull it up on any day and see at that point in time what the balance is. The only downfall is it's at the point in time that you're running the report. They haven't incorporated, we can do it as of this date. But since it was February 2nd, they gave us the balances at that point in time. And so I made the adjustment on those 2 accounts to those balances. And the net effect of the correction I had to make was that the bridge passes balance was too high, which I expected because of the lack of information at the beginning of the fiscal year. Things were put into the bridge, the deferred revenue rather than the deposits. The net effect of the entry and the customer deposits was about $20,000 too low. So I got those in line. The net effect of that was less than $6,000 that I put into revenue. So considering we didn't have all the information we really needed to account for this properly at the beginning, but with Maureen being able to start doing her normal thing that she does to account for revenue on a daily basis and deferred revenue, that was a very minimal adjustment. So we were really happy with that. So now going forward, it's on Maureen's schedule on the first day of the next month to run that scheduling and give me the balances. So these will be much more accurate going forward.
So on the accounts payable, the 43,756, that's all parking base?
So when I was looking at that, getting ready for this meeting, I looked back at that and I looked at the fund check clearing. And there was an entry that we made in January to correct that, because we thought there was an error. It actually wasn't, it was a pure timing difference. So when I reversed the entry, now it's, the accounts payable is $52, which it should be, and the fund check clearing is $293. And that's probably a voided check that I clear out at the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, so this is
So the only difference between the 2 balance sheets is fixing, correcting, reversing the entry we had originally made, where we thought we were correcting something, but it was actually a pure timing difference.
When do you estimate we're going to be paid in full back to parking base?
They are actually paid in full
Okay.
at this point. They were paid, the checks went out after the last board meeting. So now they are caught up. We paid all the invoices for the last, from January, August, September, October. But there are 5 invoices, so September, October, November, December, and January. So now they are paid in full, so you won't see that expense until February.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
I have a question. I saw an email that you sent to Parking Base pointing out the fact that when you looked at your own account, it didn't completely square with the details they had in their system for you. Did they ever come back to you and explain that or
They did.
address it with a
They
correction?
did. And there's actually, because I gave them the example of my
Yes.
account. It was very clear from my account. It looked like I got an extra $6. And when he looked at that and expanded it with what they actually see when the free bridge closed, and then we went to paying once when we crossed the bridge in Riverview. The number of crossings I had at that point, at the very beginning, was 13. 13 isn't divisible by 6, but 12 is. So that's why he put, it's like we have two buckets. We have cash and we have crossings. And so he converted that crossing into and put that cash back into my cash bucket. So I only had 12 crossings instead of 13 when the free bridge closed at that point in time. And he sent me a snippet of his screen, which has that extra line in it, which we don't see.
So although it looked to you as though you inappropriately were getting a little too much money,
Right.
once
It was
he
just-
expanded
right,
and
yeah.
showed you everything, you saw that it actually was correct.
Right,
So-
so they didn't give this, and that's why there were so many accounts, because there were probably a number of people that were in the same situation, the number of crossings they had at the free bridge closings when we were only being charged once wasn't divisible by 6. So that's where it was. So based on what he sent me and what we talked about, I'm very confident that nobody got any extra money. It's just their system, and we don't see everything, which I'm not exactly, I don't get that warm fuzzy feeling with that, but when he showed me, it made sense, and everybody has to
Okay.
think about the fact that you actually have two buckets, and that's a huge change for everyone to get used to.
Okay.
So
And you are getting the information you need now after that meeting on February 2nd?
most of it, there are still a couple things that Maureen is waiting for. So we've paid them in full. If we don't resolve everything, then, we'll revert back to, if they're not fulfilling their contract, not paying them.
Because I thought there were some things about each person as they're crossing, or each car as it's crossing, you're not getting all the information on that customer that you need. So I don't know if that's been resolved yet.
No,
Okay, still an outstanding issue.
that's the booth monitor that we're requesting more information.
Okay, so we'll put that in a
Yeah.
placeholder.
Yep.
For
Oh,
future
absolutely.
resolution.
Absolutely. So,
Thank you.
Before we leave parking base, did they forecast an annual increase?
I'm sorry?
Have they forecasted an annual increase? Because we're using them as a SaaS model, so they didn't say they're gonna do an
Not
extra.
that I'm
Okay.
aware of, no. Oh. Okay. So going to the revenue and expenditure account statement for January. So in the third column, the township collects all of its millages on the winter tax bill. So we got a sizable amount in January that was collected, so just under $650,000. This will happen either at the end of February, beginning of March, with all the property tax collections we've had through February 17th. There, we have another almost 400,000 coming in. We still are collecting until March 1st. It just with penalty and interest before we send the tax roll to the county. So usually wait till we're close to the end of that before I have my finance assistant move money. So, in the expenses, if you look at several of the benefits, they're actually negative numbers. That's the result of removing the toll bridge employees from our benefits. So that didn't take place because we pay ahead with our benefits. So right now I'm paying all the benefits for March. So they couldn't make the change until April, and then it's retroactive. So the credits that we got from removing 10 or 11 individuals was greater than continuing with the benefits for the operations manager. A little farther down, the activity for the staffing contract, we did pay Wallman their initial invoice, which was for the first payroll of January, and that was based on the actual payroll. And we have not paid them since because we're going back to establishing a contract amount for the year, dividing it by 12, and then whatever staffing adjustments he has during the month. So this is going to be applied to our next payment. During the month, we paid H&H $288,000. And then a little farther down, you see that negative $398,000, which was the same increase that was in the prepaid expense on the balance sheet for the insurance. So for the month, we had about, when you subtract out the $398,000, we have about almost a $600,000 profit for the month, and because of the large property tax deposit.
Just clarification again on the 398,000. Explain that to me just one more time quickly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So when we pay our insurance policies, it's paid over either 6 months or a year. There's a certain amount you take that amount and divide, if it's for a year, divide it by 12, and that's the amount of expense per month that you're incurring. Most of our policies are in line with our fiscal year, and when we started with the toll bridge, they were starting on April 1st. There'd be no reason to make any adjustment because the policy is the same time period as our fiscal year. When one of our policies, when we started with the toll bridge, was only a 6-month policy. So when that one renewed, we got a 12-month policy, but that renewed on September 30th. So now I'm paying a whole year for a policy that we only have 6 months left in the year. So I take that amount and allocate the other 6 months is going to be for next year. So then I move it out and put it on the balance sheet and prepaid expense. And then when I get to the new fiscal year, I'll put it back in because that's the next year's expense for those months.
Yeah.
So we had 2 policies where the amounts were significant enough for the necessity for that entry.
And this, of course, is a one-time thing for this.
Well, it'll happen every year.
Every year.
Yeah, every
right.
year, yeah. Now it'll happen every year. But now we have policies that are not close to being in line with our fiscal year.
Right.
So how should we expect to see this? Because next month's the end of the fiscal year, correct?
Yeah, so March 31st is our fiscal year end on.
So in May, we'll see a restart.
April.
Okay,
Yep.
well,
I'll
but we
probably
won't
move
see
it.
it till, we'll
Yeah.
see April and May.
April or May, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So will we always see it as lump sum or will it be prorated? How should we expect to see it?
I can do either one. So.
I'm just asking what to expect as far as what's ever
Okay.
easiest for you, Teresa.
I would typically do a lump sum,
Okay.
so.
So did you say that this is going to happen every year with the prepaid prepaid insurance?
Yeah, well, yeah, so it'll probably be about the same amount every year, because now we have two policies that are on a different cycle.
So we're not talking about the health insurance anymore for the employees. That's,
No, this is not health
Okay,
insurance.
so
This
this
is
is
not,
liability
it's not
insurance
employee
for the-
benefits.
okay.
It's liability insurance
Okay.
and property insurance.
got it, okay.
Yep.
It's
So this
essentially a-
will,
so it's
this will
essentially an
probably
accrual.
happen every year, but it'll fluctuate based on how much, really don't think the premium's gonna go down. It may, when we have the improvements, but going to next year probably go up. So the amount would probably be a little bit greater, but that way we're reflecting the actual months within the year.
This is how you accrue for that, because the calendarization is off from our fiscal year. I got it,
Right.
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It might go down. Are we covering the barge still on it? The barge office? Okay.
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Okay. All set? Okay.
There we go.
So our net was, revenues over expenditures, $988,000 for the month. So that's good.
Net of the,
The net of revenues over expenditures, I see, 988,000. Yeah.
but that's because you have a credit in your.
Of course, that's a big part, that's a part of it, significant part.
Yeah, if we wanted to figure out the retained earnings for the month, we'd have to back out the taxes. The collected taxes, yeah.
okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Teresa.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Let's jump the approval of the minutes up ahead here before we get into other presentations of the budget and public comment. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes?
I
Yes.
have, yep.
Let's see here, just 1 second.
It was
Okay.
page 13.
I got it. Any comments on the minutes?
None.
Very thorough, thank you.
Then I'll accept a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Quick.
And let's move on to the presentation of the 26-27 budget.
So actually, we're gonna go in the other order. We're gonna look at what I'm gonna propose for an amended budget for the current year, which will roll into
Okay?
the budget for the next year. And that will it'll probably make a little bit more better sense.
Let's see. What page in the packet is that?
7.
Thank you.
7,
Gotcha. Okay.
7
Thank you.
and 8.
Okay, so even though it says amended budget, the first column, it is the original budget that was passed almost a year ago. You can see, and then the second column is the actual activity through the end of January. The third column is there we go. There we go. The third column is the proposed amended budget, and then the last column is the increase or decrease between the original budget and the amended budget. So you can see on this page, there's a change on almost every line item. So, this budget will go to the Board of Trustees, on March 23rd. So this is just to present it to the commission, see if you have any questions, if anything, have any input for what needs to change.
Does the township board need to approve the amended budget for the current year?
The original budget in the first column was approved by the board
Right,
last March.
so this is basically your amended budget based on your 10
This
months
is
of
my
actuals
proposed amended budget, so it hasn't been approved yet.
for the rest of this year.
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
But it does, though.
So I'm gonna go over some of the high points, absolutely. If you have questions about anything in between, just let me know. So, working on this budget, this was a collaborative effort between myself and Maureen, the operations manager. And we know a lot more now than we did a year ago. And so, between the bridge cash fares and the AVI tag revenue, there's an increase of about $180,000 in the revenue. A lot of that is, most of it's because of the free bridge closure. I did an estimate from prior financial statements back in 2020 and 2021, the last time the free bridge was closed, but things obviously change. I know the prior resources, that's what, of the expenses, that's what we're using the bond proceeds for, which is at this point are the engineering costs with H&H. So, looking, the current contract is about $3.5 million. They're doing a lot more now. This was my estimate as far as the split between this fiscal year through March 31st and next fiscal year, and basically I took the amount and divided it by 2. So that's what in the third column, on the line for prior resources, that's the $1,775,000. If you look further down the sheet, that number agrees where it's coded number 1, it agrees with the expenditure for the professional services, which the only thing that goes in there are the payments to H&H, to our engineers. Any questions on the revenue? Going to the expenses, the first dozen or so accounts all the way to where the blue line is, those are the salaries and benefits. So we had the employees, obviously, when we did the budget, that was anticipated to be for 90 days. It was actually for 9 months. So I took the second column, which is where we were at January 31st, and then just added the amounts for the operations manager for February and March to get the new figures in the third column.
And I see your amended budget is basically what you've spent so far, because we're not gonna continue.
So the second column is what we've spent so far, and then getting the amended budget is projecting what we're going to be spending
Right.
the last 2 months of the year. Going down with the staffing contract, I originally budgeted $750,000 for a full year. We are only going to have 3 months. So in the third column, the 194,604 is the latest contract amount for 3 months, and then I added 5% for any incidentals.
Which, Your copy's marked up. Which GL code is that one that you're referring to? I'm
Oh,
trying
I'm sorry. 579-590-803-050.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
So that's how the 194,604 was calculated. The next line for the bridge operations and maintenance contract, we're not going to have that, so I removed the 600,000. We talked about the 5.7 million. The administrative expense is a function of the revenue. It's the amount that goes back to the general fund for indirect costs, like the time I spend, the time our payroll person spends, the time our accounts payable person spends on the township, our cashier. There's a consistent percentage of revenue that's used township-wide. So because the revenue dropped, the administrative expense dropped.
Before we go on the auditing fees, you initially budgeted 7,500. We spent 1,500. Do you see us having? Are you going to project audit fees for the next fiscal year?
So in 26, 27, it will be 70. It'll be 7,500. Actually, they didn't have, since we didn't purchase the bridge until April 1st. They had to do some work, but not the full amount of work that they are going to do in June when they come here to do the township audit. Because this was we purchased a new operation, it's a new fund, it involves cash and credit card usage. They will be spending a good amount of time with their audit procedure. So it will go back up to 7,500 for next year.
It's a deal.
Yeah.
It's a good deal for the
Yeah,
amount.
Yeah. And I will talk to them about, how much time that they actually spend, if the actual amount should be more or less, so.
I have a question about legal fees. So what legal fees are involved in this budget? I know there were certainly legal fees associated with the bond.
Right,
Opportunity,
it was related to the bonds, it was related to the purchase, it was related to getting contracts situated for the year. They got involved with the valet manager and wrote a very extensive letter regarding fulfilling their contract. So there were a number of things throughout the year, and it's still going to be significant going forward for the next year because of the bond sale. We also had one of the other contractors that couldn't seem to get the invoice correct with the change. They were trying to make a square hole fit in a round peg instead of just starting all over with Grosse Township. So that required them to get involved as well.
Question on, I guess it follows along with the same as audit. Do you recommend that this department has a budget for the FY 26-27 year to have a budget for legal fees? How do you recommend we approach that? I mean, this year we had 30,000.
Well, I budgeted the same. I'm budgeting the same for the next year.
Thank you.
Teresa, quick question. So my understanding is, we're gonna have legal fees associated with operations. Then we'll have legal fees associated with bonds.
Yes.
Legal fees associated with bonds, I believe, are bond revenue eligible to be paid back through that bond revenue. Are you gonna be tracking legal fees separately between those two? And are you gonna have two separate line items, or are you just gonna track that based upon invoice or project?
I'm going to track it. I'm going to use an Excel schedule and track the costs. Because most of this is operations, except for the engineering and the legal fees,
Okay.
basically.
And there'll be bond issuance costs as well? Those will fall under legal, or are you gonna
No.
track those as bond issuance? Okay.
That would be, there's a separate line for bond issuance costs.
And we spend some time with them reviewing our contracts too that we're going
Right,
right now.
yes. So a lot of the other ones, the next ones, we're trying to get expenses in line between the categories that were on the prior owner's financial statements and what our account numbers are under the Michigan Uniform Chart of Accounts. The accounts that the last 6 digits are 956-100 and 957-900, other expenses. Basically, we don't put anything in other, and everything that we've come across so far has an appropriate specific account. So I zeroed those out. So that's what the negative 19,300 is and the negative 55,442.
What all is included in insurance and bonds?
That's the insurance policies that we paid when we purchased the toll bridge for the liability, the excess liability, the commercial insurance. So that's the insurance for the months of April 1st to March 31st.
Yeah. And bonds, it says insurance and bonds.
That's because some of the insurance policies we pay are to bond our treasurer and other people that handle cash. So that's just the account description
Okay.
that we use, and account descriptions, it's based on those last 6 digits, how they're set up in our system, so.
I know you track many things. I did want to ask, on the 986 for the equipment purchase and the computer network, seems like we spent somewhere around $60,000, give or take. Is that buying of tags? How do you, I know we could go and trace it back to the invoices. How do we see that as far as, was that purchasing, or it seems like a lot of money? So I was just wondering, do you recall, or would we have to pull some invoices as far as what built up to that amount?
It was the equipment in the toll booths, was some of it, the cameras at the toll booths, and around the bridge.
There was some transitional expense to transitioning from, the network that the ownership was using prior to our network system. But we could pull the invoices to see what's coded there as well, because there could be AV tags or some other things that are included in there, so.
My mind is not so much, that's why I thought on some of the stuff, my mind is not so much on the transitional costs. I'm already thinking 26, 27 budget, right, as far as what we're going to capture for that. 'Cause I know
Yeah, I'll
some
do that after I do
Yeah,
this.
some of the
yeah.
equipment's quite old, some of it's quite new, so I was wondering how we were going to go after that.
We've got 9,000, she's got 9,000 in network for next year, and nothing in equipment purchase.
Thank you.
What's included, how do you do the depreciation expense? What are you depreciating? How do you calculate that, just roughly?
So that amount for this year, not knowing everything that we might need to purchase, that's based on the cost of the toll bridge over a useful life of 50 years. It's done on a straight line basis. So that was my original estimate for that. Now looking at the equipment purchase and the computer equipment purchase, what I do at the end of the fiscal year when I'm getting ready for the audit is I look at all the accounts similar like that and look for things that should actually be capitalized as a fixed asset on the balance sheet. Because this is an enterprise fund, those get moved out, put on the balance sheet, and then I add those to the depreciation schedule as separate items and depreciate them over a straight line, meaning, the number of months out of the year, and then calculate the depreciation on those.
On that category, what's useful life, 4 years, 5 years?
5 years.
And you also have reserve capital improvements of $3.5 million. What is, what's going on there?
So what I did now is I do the same thing that we do for all the other funds in the township. If we have more revenue, we always work with balanced budgets. So revenue equal expenditure. So if we have more revenue than expenditures, we typically take that excess amount and put it in a reserve for capital improvements. That's basically saying that's our profit that's going to go into fund balance, and we're going to use it for future capital improvements in future years. So if I had not done this, this would have showed a profit for the year of almost $3.5 million.
Right.
And you'll see on the next budget why we need that money. It may not be necessarily capital improvements, but that's the typical process that we use township-wide.
Okay.
Double entry, right? Double entry accounting.
But that flows to the balance sheet for this fiscal year, that 3.5 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess if you spend enough years in public accounting, you will develop a
Yes.
budget for a bridge.
Yep.
Never would have saw that coming.
No, I didn't.
So when you talked the 50-year amortization schedule for the bridge, did that clock restart once we bought it?
I'm sorry?
For the bridge, you have a 50-year amortization schedule.
For the bridge itself, yes.
Did that clock restart once we purchased it?
Well, that's
mean, to me,
based
it's-
on
I
a,
think it's-
that's
if I
based on a
remember right, it's
purchase date of
probably
April 1st. and-
Amortized twice. It's over 100 years old, right?
The bridges.
So when the upgrades are done, that original price will probably be shown as a disposal. And then
Okay.
we will have the new cost of the bridge based on all the upgrades, because basically the bridge is going to be rebuilt. But I have to still pull out, we just had one price, when we were getting, the bridge insured, they wanted, to know a breakdown between the bridge, the toll plaza, the Bobcats. So when I get to the end of the fiscal year, I will take that breakdown, and then those items will potentially, usually equipment is either between 7 and 10 years. And I will break that out a little bit, so that entire 13 million won't necessarily be depreciated over 50 years. I'll have to break it out into the individual components, significant components.
Thank you.
So we're going to look at 26, 27, so this assumes 12 full months of operation.
Correct, but 25, 26 also is 12 full months.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah, but this is 12 regular months, hopefully.
Well, I hope not. I hope we can start sooner.
Well, I am too, but that seems to be a moving target right now,
Hopefully it's
so.
moving closer, but yeah, I get it. Okay, got to start somewhere.
So to that point, those that were on the phone call recently, latest is maybe January. So I think we need to probably make a determination about what what we want to project in the budget as far as revenue months.
Right.
Whether it's April 1 through January, or right now it's projected as 12 months of revenue. So that's a talking point
Yeah.
for us to decide upon.
Yeah.
And
And
I
if,
feel confident enough in what H&H is saying to
Yeah, we will need to address that. Yeah, your tag revenue will go way down.
Yeah. So this is the current proposed budget for 26, 27. So the first column is the proposed amended budget from the prior schedule. The second column is still the current activity through January 31st. So we're focusing on the third and fourth column. So, this budget is based on a full year of the toll bridge being open. It's, We're gonna skip the property taxes for just a minute. So again, Maureen and I, looked at the figures, did estimations for the bridge cash fares and the AVI tag revenue based on a normal year of it being open for the entire 12 months. Then we, because more money's gonna go out, we reduce the interest income a little bit. The transfer in of $700,000, so we have another fund that has unlimited tax obligation bonds. It was from the super sewer project that was started 20 years ago. And related with that, there was a judgment bond. So we made the final payment on the sewer bond at the beginning of this year. We're making the final payment on the judgment bond on April 1st of 2026. Once I make that payment, and we will still have about $700,000 left in that fund. From what I can tell, it was due to in the past, that sewer project, and actually it started when I was the auditor here, which makes me kind of old, but it was done in 3 phases. And so 3 different amortization schedules. It appears that the millage rates over time may not necessarily have been adjusted quite enough with the drop off of a paying off a bond, because there were 3 different bonds. And so that's how we accumulated the additional funds in that other fund. So we spoke with our bond counsel, and he said because those are unlimited tax obligation bonds, they can be used to pay off other unlimited tax obligation bonds, and the only ones in the township that we have of that are the toll bridge bonds. So once I make that final payment, and then it has to go to pay the property taxes in the toll bridge towards the millage, and it has to be done immediately. We can't sit on the funds. So the money, the excess money will go into the toll bridge once we're done paying the bond payments. And so that's why the property tax revenue, if everything's normal, if the toll bridge closes before the end of the next fiscal year, I have to look at, what our expenses are and if we have enough. But if everything's the same, that's basically would be half the normal millage for 26, 27. So I would lower the millage on the tax bills. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, this is transferable because it's infrastructure, right? As far as from the sewers to the sewer bonds to the toll bridge.
Yep.
That and also it's debt type.
That's what I meant as
Yeah.
far as it was bonded towards infrastructure.
When I say debt type, I mean unlimited tax bond. So versus a limited, so DPS has some limited tax bonds out there, but we can't transfer those funds to those limited. It has to go, because it was taken out as an unlimited, it has to go to another unlimited. But nonetheless, DPS commission expects a thank you note from the Bridge Commission for the dollars, so.
It can drive across our bridge anytime.
Right hand and left.
With a proper functioning tag, that is. Is this a one-time? Okay.
It's just
So
a
it's a windfall.
one-time
We
thing,
won't,
yes.
shouldn't expect it
And
again.
I have an opinion letter from our bond counsel.
I mean, I guess the other way it could have been handled is you could lower the millage on the sewer, whatever the millage was for the sewer work, and not have that money roll over the bridge, but
Right.
what
In
does it
essence,
matter?
we're
It's-
refunding the public and they don't
Exactly.
care where it's being refunded to,
Yeah.
so long as it's debt, right?
Is it Miller Canfield that we use for bond counsel?
Correct.
Yep. 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 So that's why when I started here, the first year, I didn't levy anything for the last sewer payment, and then this current year, I didn't levy anything for the judgment bond, even though the payment's not due until April 1st of '26, because I knew we had sufficient funds to make those payments where we were at.
So it looks like your bridge cash fares and your tag revenues are down from last year some. You're anticipating maybe 1 or 2 months that will be closed?
No, because we had 4 weeks of closures this current year, we had more revenue, so we're not gonna have
Yeah,
that.
okay.
So this budget represents more what a regular, normal year would look like, although, we have to talk about, is it likely that we're gonna have a full year or not?
And we can't forecast whether or not the free bridge is gonna close for unexpected days or whatnot.
And, if we have higher amounts, that's why there's amended budgets.
Right.
All right.
Too. Our schedule for approving the budget, we have our department committee meetings next week. There's a study session with the Board of Trustees on March 4th. A public hearing is at the March 9th board meeting. And then the final approval is at the March 23rd board meeting. So we don't have a lot of time, and to really try and pinpoint it, but that's why I'm presenting this now, so we can have some conversation. Do we leave it like this, and then as we get more accurate information, I can amend this budget?
Okay.
So under prior resources for the bond proceeds, right now I just have the remainder, the other half of the engineering costs. In the expenditures, the first dozen lines, so now that's just the salary and benefits for the operations manager, and she has a part-time assistant that works under 30 hours a week. So that's why there's still the part-time temporary. The cost of the bridge passes, that went down. We're not anticipating having to buy necessarily too much in new ones. Actually, they're able to reuse some new ones that have been turned in and some old ones that have been turned in and recycle them for other people to use them.
So Teresa, would you charge refunds to that account as well?
No, the refunds are charged to the deferred revenue.
Okay, so you're charging the refunds to deferred revenue?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So the next largest change is for the staffing contract, so that's assuming for a full regular year with the Wallman Group. Again, it's based on the base contract amount where we're at right now. And then I added 5% for any potential changes that they have to add during each month.
Teresa, just not to interrupt you, but could we go back to credit card fees? So when you guys established that line item, what did you bake into that line item amount?
It's based on where we're at now at January 31st plus 2 months.
So are we including parking-based fees there in addition to others? So where are parking-based fees accounted for?
That's under,
Professional services, that's engineering, right?
yes, I think so. I can tell more on this one.
Is it maintenance
So
computer
it should be
software or
It should be, it's professional services.
for the parking base?
So you've got 1.772.
No, I'm sorry, no, the professional services are in, that's that's the engineer.
Right.
That's H&H, yeah.
So for parking base, would it be 934.1, the maintenance computer software? 100,000?
Excuse me.
It is, it's under the computer network.
So maintenance computer software.
I need to actually go back and I can't, I have it in my
That's fine.
Excel
It's
schedule.
just so long
and
as it's
stuff.
accounted for,
It
because
is.
we're averaging between 15 and 19,000 a month,
Yeah.
something like that. So you're
Yep,
200.
I'll double
Okay,
check that.
all right.
Thank you.
The insurance and bonds, the increase of 176,000, I'm not, I don't know at this point how the insurance is going to change. So I estimated 20%, which is what we did for the rest of the township. It could be more, could be a little less. And then going down to property taxes, after 2025, we'll be exempt from paying property taxes, so I removed that from the budget.
Is that true for the Riverview side also?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
They asked us to pay, I said, nah, I don't think so.
It's worth asking.
Like, you can ask all you want, my mom told me that.
Yeah.
So the reserve for capital improvement, the 603,175, same theory as this current year, that would have been the profit. We would add projected excess revenues over expenditures by 603,000. Equipment purchase of 75,000, that's for the purchase of a new Bobcat.
So
And-
just, so on the reserve capital improvements,
Mm-hmm.
that's what you estimate the retained earnings would be for 12 months?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So that's saying that, so that we show a balanced budget, that's the additional amount we've had for reserve for future projects. And then the last two lines are to show, this is on a cash basis, the principal, bond, and interest payments during 26, 27. So we're going to pay $405,000 towards the principal and $1,530,000 in interest. And this year's interest is higher than normal because the bonds were sold on February 13th of 2025, and this is the first payment that we're making. That's the way the bonds were set up. So we're paying interest all the way for over a year when we pay.
So
Okay.
these bond payments and interest payments are based upon the initial bond amount issuance. Our second bond issuance, those principal payments and interest won't fall into this fiscal year, they'll be in the next fiscal year?
That I'm not sure of.
Okay.
I'm assuming it would at least be beyond 26, 27, but again, I don't know when the bonds are gonna be sold
Sure.
and how the structure's gonna be, and
And the millage rate would be adjusted to accommodate for whatever that might be versus what this is, and so on and so forth. Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
So how many months do these bond payments cover, since it's more than a year?
The bond payment? Mm-hmm. So this, the interest, there's interest payments on April 1st and October 1st. So the April 1st payment is roughly $1.1 million of interest plus the principal payment for the year of $405,000. And then the remaining $400,000 is the interest from April 1st to October 1st. And that'll be made on October 1st. And now we'll be in the cycle of making the bond payments on April 1st and October 1st of every year.
Thank you.
And that's the interest payment on, what did we have, $21 million? 21.5, I think. That was,
For,
That should be correct.
yeah, right.
The bond payments and interest payments on that initial issuance.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do we want to budget just a little bit of money for computer equipment purchase, just in case we have something that gives out?
Well, we can also amend the budget, because I don't know
Okay.
what the final amount is going to be. The bond amount is
Oh,
going to be, yeah.
I'm sorry, I switched gears. 590-986-500, just kind of petty. Does it make sense to throw a couple $1,000s in there just in case we have equipment that fails throughout the fiscal year?
And we thought 0, but we can.
You know, technology, Daryl, it always
Yeah.
fails. Computers crap out and, you know.
The computers I saw were IBM Think Centers that I know we sold when I worked at IBM, and I haven't worked at IBM over a baker's dozen. So, yeah, I think they're well beyond our 5-year depreciation schedule of install base. So I think that's a great idea to put a small line item in.
And as we talked earlier, the big thing to watch for is when are we gonna close the bridge? Because that'll impact the revenue and significantly once that happens.
The fortunate part is she's got 603 in that revenue over expenditures, which gives us a little bit of cushion in case we have some lost months there. So that's good to
Of
see.
course, we won't try and close the bridge any earlier than we have to.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm also wondering what'll happen if it'll be like a run on the bank. Will people all want their bridge pass deposits returned to them? I don't, we don't have to decide that tonight, but just, we've got to have our eye on that down the road.
So when the bridge closes, we will have a huge influx of individuals turning in their tags
Yeah, I'm
as
afraid.
well,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
good point.
I like that analogy.
Well, it was the holidays, we all
Yeah.
watched A Wonderful Life all over again.
So they turn them in and then they have to renew them and get new ones when the bridge opens back up again?
So,
the rationale?
depends
I
on what
mean-
they do when they turn them in too.
Yeah,
We've had all kinds of combinations of, they find their passes, they want the deposit back. Or that sometimes they just want their account balance back, but they keep the tags,
Okay.
so.
We're gonna try to discourage that because the free bridge is gonna close following that. That's the plan. And,
Yeah.
that just
They're just gonna have to come back and get new tags and new,
makes a lot of sense. So,
I mean,
that's their choice.
yeah, well,
But it's what, $45 a tag? Yeah, so,
Yep, between,
so,
yeah.
so a lot of people I know have
Usually a lot of
5,
times
6
6
tags,
to 7,000,
right?
yeah.
And you're just like, okay, 5, 6 tags, it's worth.
Maureen was just mentioning the previous operator and owner would institute a fee to discourage that if you partook in that practice, right? So, I mean, maybe that's something to consider, but
was that like a restocking fee
basically,
places give you? Yeah, I don't,
So keep in mind, when that does happen, it won't impact, closing the bridge will impact our revenue, but those refunds won't, because we're refunding what we already have that they've paid
Okay.
to us, so that's in the
Excellent.
deferred revenue.
Yeah,
Good.
right.
Yes.
Regarding the cash fares, you have an assumption roughly 18% of your total fare revenue is cash. I can't go to a football or basketball game at the high school and pay cash anymore. Has there been any discussion before the Bridge Commission was formed, or is this something we should maybe put on a future agenda? Alternatives to cash, which would expedite fares at the booth, Apple Pay, I don't know what they're all out there, but I
Yeah.
mean, it looks like it carries over the same amount, and I think that would reduce labor in the bridge operation because of the reconciliation and the auditing and all the other things that deal with a cash basis.
Well,
Any
and
thought
that's-
given to
yeah,
that?
That's something we would look at. And again, this was prepared based on just the assumption
I understand
that.
that, but I guess I'm
Yeah.
looking,
Yeah.
when
yeah,
you talk
we
about the
would-
cash fares
we'd
and the
look at
tags
it,
and
Yeah.
We
We
can
still
discuss that,
have
Chris.
the.
the hourly,
As a board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as a
Yeah.
commission, rather, we can discuss that.
We still have and it depends on how we set up the new toll booth, but we also have, a lot of credit card payments. Not all of them are on account right now. Some of them pay when they're going through as well. So it's a mixture.
But I have neighbors right now with tags who don't own credit cards, debit, and they run cash, because legally you have to accept cash. So,
And we came
Yeah.
across a fair amount of that when we
Yeah.
were dealing with the tag issue upon purchase.
Yeah.
People don't want to upload their credit card information to the system. They even come in and, or he knows better than I do, come in and want to load their card with cash even, because
Yeah.
they don't want anything to do with any of that.
And then I assume you have swipe fees, so if you're not using cash, there is a cost associated with taking a card, I would assume, so that sometimes, the labor of taking a cash, sometimes, don't forget, you have to accommodate the swipe fees if you don't take cash.
Yeah, and, looking at our credit card fees.
I've thought about,
It's $117,000.
I've thought about that, like maybe we should have a Grosse Toll Bridge credit card. Seriously, it's over $100,000 every year. So that's,
the logo.
Yeah.
yeah, so that's something that piqued my interest.
Yeah, very much.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
All set, thank you very much.
Teresa, thank you for taking all these detailed questions at 7 o'clock at night, since I know you started.
Well, this is just a warm up for what I have to do with the regular board for the next month.
Yeah,
So we're the junior varsity, is that what you're telling us?
yeah, we're junior varsity. Well
Ninth grade
said.
team.
We'll take this time here to open for public comments. Any public comments? Okay. Being none, we'll move on to the action items. Toll Bridge inspection and reporting proposal recommendation. Want to bring us up on that, Derek?
Should we read it first, Derek, and then
Yes.
second it?
And
Yeah,
second.
go ahead, Patrick, why don't you read it, we'll second it, and then Derek can do any history or any information.
The recommendation is the Grosse Toll Bridge Commission hereby recommends the approval of a proposal from H&H for the 2026 toll bridge inspections and reporting as required by DOT. You want to cover the history on that then, Derek?
I'll second.
Oh,
So,
wait, who made the motion?
Pat
Patrick,
and
thank you.
Joe. Second.
Motion and seconded, okay.
So now that we're the owner of the toll bridge, just as any owner of any bridge in the state of Michigan, we're required to maintain a certain inspection frequency and inspection types that have different frequencies for our structure. This is to keep us in compliance with MDOT regulations. So there is an inspection that is due this summer that is explained here in the history, purpose, and explanation. And H&H has presented a proposal to us to have that inspection conducted, and then those inspection results be uploaded into the MyBridge program as required. H&H is intimately involved with this bridge, so I think it makes the most amount of sense to have them continue to do those inspections. There were around 3 separate inspections that were deficient when we purchased the bridge, for which H&H helped us out with and corrected those and brought us into compliance. These weren't deficient inspections as a result of us being deficient, but were deficient when we actually purchased the bridge. So they've done inspections on the bridge. They're very familiar with the bridge. The majority of their cost is actually wrapped up in the rental of the equipment that's necessary to do those inspections. So I don't think that it behooves us to review other engineers just because a lot of that cost is associated with equipment alone. The policies and procedures of the township allow us to go ahead and select a professional service provider, which H&H falls under that category. So that's why they're being recommended to go ahead and accept their proposal and move forward with that work with them. So are there any questions about any of that? So if you do vote this to the affirmative tonight, it would then go to the township board and then they would go ahead and approve that.
And the amount of this is,
44,000.
I see 44 and another 3 for 48,480.03. Is that what we're talking about?
That is correct.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Nope.
And I would just add that H&H has found a lot of cost savings for us too, while working on the other contracts. So it gives us a lot of confidence in what they're doing and their numbers and their conscientious way that they're going about the project.
Very good. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it passes unanimously. Thank you.
Guess we'll do the same thing, Patrick, on this one, if you'd like to.
Yes,
read it, or
next action item.
Someone else.
On this one, the motion would be, the Grosse Toll Bridge Commission hereby recommends the approval of the attached agreement between the Township of Grosse and Wallman Unlimited for staffing services at the Grosse Toll Bridge. So
Second.
that's moved and seconded.
Move in second, yep.
So if you recall, a couple of months ago, this commission had recommended entering into an agreement with Wallman for the provision of staffing services for the township. That did end up going to the township board. The township board approved that. What this, in essence, is just the formal agreement. So any formal agreement, contract, must be reviewed by legal counsel and then approved by the board. So upon your recommendation of this actual document, it would then go to the board for approval following your recommendation. A number of you are very familiar with the work that's gone into solidifying the terms and conditions between the township and Wallman, and I'm very appreciative for the commission's assistance with that because it was challenging at times, but the terms and conditions that were ultimately arrived at were provided to our legal counsel for incorporation into the agreement that's attached to this action item. I think a number of the commission members can speak just as easily as I can to any of the negotiations or review of numbers that the commission members went through with the Wallman Group. So with that, I'm not sure if any of you want to speak to those or if there are any questions about how we arrived at these figures, and we can talk about that.
Open with thank you, Derek, for all the work you put into that. And special thanks here to Commissioner Johnson for your input on that. Thank you very much.
Yep, no problem.
Any further
Glad
comments?
to have it behind us.
Yes, I would agree.
I did have a concern.
Okay.
As we reviewed, right, the staffing contract, as Teresa thoroughly reviewed, it's around $750,000, right? And as presented in this package, there's a lot of red lines, and especially under Section D on wages. And we're happy enough to have a lawyer on the commission, but
Counselor.
from my, I didn't want to say counselor because she's not retained by me, but I thought the same, Chris. I don't like putting forward a document with red lines in it
Yeah.
for review for $50, let alone almost $1 million. So I do have a concern.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the track changes version got put into the packet, which really were the changes between one of the previous iterations of the dollar figures and what we eventually arrived at. And our attorney tried to incorporate into the verbiage of the agreement the unique arrangements associated with cost sharing. So, if anything, I guess it highlights what those, specific provisions were that were changed, but, what was intended to be provided to you was the final version rather than the red line version, so.
So is the total cost gonna be the 741, 348, 16? Or is it going to be the red line of where it was before?
So the red line.
829?
No, so it's going to be the 741, whatever the change was on that. So what we arrived at was, there's a baseline of cost that is representative of the current expense for personnel at the bridge. If there is a variation throughout the balance of the contract year based upon changes in the employment pool, those costs will be adjusted on our monthly invoices based upon the formulas that are listed within the red line portions of this agreement. So cost shares on healthcare and things of that sort. So that was the major difference between what you saw there previously lined out and what the agreement ended up being.
Yeah. Excellent work on the contract. I guess I'm just not accustomed to putting forth a recommendation to the board to approve a red line document. That's kind of where I was.
I'm wondering if we could handle this in such a way as we provisionally approve based on getting a non-red line document.
Sure.
Provided to us by the end of the week
Yeah,
or
and-
before the board meet, so that we all have it, assuming it will say everything we expect it to say based on the changes we see.
Correct.
So I wonder if we could handle it like that, so we don't have to have another meeting to
Absolutely.
approve
Yep.
it.
Okay.
Daryl, would that
Yeah.
satisfy you?
Well, Counselor, it would if it satisfies you. I just, it's such a significant cost, and there's a derivation of almost $100,000 between the red line, and we want to put forward a recommendation to the Township Board that they can approve on. And it's just, I understand the walk, how we got here. I understand the details of the agreement quite well, and thank you again, Chris. It's merely the protocol of the red line. That
Understandable.
is a
Yep.
pause for me.
Yeah.
Now, I notice in the first invoice from Wallman that it's 1/12 plus overtime. Now, is overtime in the contract? Because I was looking for it in
rates
here
are.
and I didn't see where that was. Maybe I just missed it.
Yeah, well, there's also an attachment that's referred to within the contract that would have that information within it, and we'll make sure that that gets to the board
Yeah.
as well.
Because it's well covered as to this breakdown of insurance. I saw that in there,
Right,
but I didn't see the overtime.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Christine, how would you recommend we handle this
Yeah,
as a commission?
I'm trying to think about a way to make the motion. Move that we approve provisionally this contract, presuming that we receive a non-red line version by the end of the week or by the end of
Yeah,
next week.
that's fine.
And that it is exactly what we expect it to be based on the changes we see in this draft. Now, that was wordy, but what do you expect? It's an attorney. Yeah, but, I've got to clean this up, but what I'm trying to say is, we see what you intend the contract to be, but we don't really want to approve it as is. Don't want to really have another meeting. So provisionally approve, assuming we see a final version that eliminates the crossed-out sections and the intended sections are reduced to the regular black print.
You're taking the minutes, so
A
you're the
clean
one that has to
final copy.
record what the motion is, so
I'm not sure that-
whatever makes sense to
We'll
you.
do that.
Yeah.
That was no different than the
I'll have
first
to
one.
modify my emotion.
We're
my
all
motion to
sensitive
do
that the township meets, the township board meets Monday.
Yeah.
And this,
This won't be on the agenda for Monday.
okay,
Okay.
okay,
All
okay.
right.
Because I know this, we've moved people back and forth. We've had people on from 90 days to 9 months, I think Teresa reminded us, right? So this is time sensitive, want to be time sensitive and just, the final.
It's not on the next agenda.
Thank you.
So really, we
But-
could approve it at the next meeting, couldn't we? The bridge meeting
No,
would
there
be-
will be a board meeting
Oh, it's every
prior
2
to you
weeks.
meeting.
It's the second meeting it's going
Well,
on.
I think your
All right.
approach of an approval pending
Yeah, 'cause
receipt.
the
will make
terms are not
sense.
gonna change,
And
just
I'll,
the.
I'll change my
Okay.
words to modify the motion accordingly and see if you agree. But I had one question. In section A under term, it indicates that we may terminate it at any time, even for convenience, with a minimum of 180 days advance written notice. That's in section A.
Yeah, and
First page.
the reason for that length of time is because of the complexities of moving to either a different vendor or.
I don't really,
Okay.
except under section H, it says it can be terminated by either party, including for convenience upon 90 days advance notice.
That's a good point.
So I see 180 and I see 90. There's an
Yeah, so-
inconsistency
yeah.
there.
So I ran this through AI,
Yeah.
and there's several, and part of the conflicts was, it was saying, well, do you want me to include the red line, or do you not want me to include the red line? There's also some ambiguity on the training that's why I'm just like, if we get a final document, we can all read it, reconcile it.
Is there anything else in your
That's our
AI
flag
search
too.
that you
I couldn't-
wanted to
I
bring
could-
up?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
caught that
couldn't,
too.
I just want a final document.
And I don't know whether you want it to be 180 or 90.
I think
Either-
the intent was 180, and I
Okay.
think it was previous 90 in there, and my suggestion to the attorney was to
Okay.
modify it to 180, just because.
So H would modify to 180
Correct.
also.
Yep.
Or, I'm not sure if you even have to say it, but if you say the same thing twice,
Yeah, I mean,
it's redundant, but
I'm not an attorney,
I
and
leave that up to
we
you.
provide it to her to make sure that things are done in accordance with what she feels is
Okay?
appropriate.
Okay,
So I will modify my motion to say, the Grosse Eel Toll Bridge Commission hereby recommends the approval of the attached agreement between the Township and Grosse Eel and Wallman Unlimited for staffing services at the Grosse Eel Toll Bridge, pending receipt of the final document by the commission within, when do you want to make it? By
Friday's fine of this
by-
week, yeah.
Friday.
Yep. As well as modification of section H to reflect.
To reflect 180 days.
Correct.
Okay.
Seconded.
Moved?
I was gonna ask you to repeat it, but I won't make you go through that, so.
You want me to? I will, if you want.
Well, okay.
So it's that motion pending approval, pending submission of the final document to us by Friday, with also the change of section H goes to 180 days
Right.
to correlate with section A.
That works.
Okay,
So from a procedural, we'll do this through our township emails, our approval to recommend?
That would be my.
I would think so.
Okay.
Okay, did I have a second on my modified?
Yes, seconded.
Okay.
Chris seconded.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay, it's approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Who needs AI when we have Patrick? You caught the 9180 also.
yeah, I've noticed it too, Chris noticed it.
Yeah, section A versus section
That's well,
H1.
Yeah.
Look at these contracts.
So-
Services, termination clauses is the first thing I look at.
You can see right here as far as it just calls out all the conflicts, number and errors, any exhibit, bill rates.
No, we read them to
It's
see if
nice.
there were
You get
different
used to
kinds
it.
of terms.
Yeah, it's productive.
It's just kind of going around.
Okay, moving on. The next item on the agenda is the manager report. Maureen, could you tell us what's happening lately?
happening on the bridge?
Anything else you want to ask?
Snow's melted.
Snow has melted, we made it through the snow, winter wonderland over there, I'm sure. We did have a few, struggles with one of the bobcats, that's why we did see that there's a budget item for getting a new one.
Oh, it's not on, sorry.
So, but the crew, actually having a new crew, quite a few, especially midnight shift, they were pretty much all new except for Christina and Joel, but they did a fantastic job, I thought, keeping up with it. It was quite tough. Employee morale has seemed to level out. They are trying to get through all the transitions with the new staffing agency, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's just another thing for them to learn. Operation-wise, we are doing fairly well. We are seeing a lot of, or we are not seeing a lot of those issues that we were talking about earlier with having a garage base where they were null accounts. The tags are reading more often. There are always a few that are coming through, and a lot of them I do believe, because some of these tags are almost 20 years old. So we are seeing a lot of tags that we are claiming as defective, which is not the customer's issue, it's our issue with our equipment. So we are trying to pull those ones out, get them a newer tag, and we see that that is kind of eliminating a lot of the gate issues that we were having. So overall, I think we're doing pretty good. So, did you guys have any questions for me?
Yes.
Yes.
So with hopefully spring on the horizon, what is there any kind of seasonal maintenance or preventive maintenance that we do prior to the bridge to start swinging? Because
Yes.
probably, a couple months away, I would guess?
Well,
Or a month?
we have a dates, December 15th through March 15th, where we have a 12-hour notice to do any swings unless it's an emergency through Coast Guard.
Sure.
After that time, we do have a gentleman named Brian who's with Seaway Mechanical. He will come down, he'll do an inspection, he'll make sure everything is greased appropriately. He does look for any kind of issue with any mechanics. Like, he actually looks on the floor to see if any kind of metal has fallen, and he will determine where it is. So there is a process that we do go through. One thing that I have noticed, and it's not with the bridge, but it's with the roadway, our curbs have kind of taken a big hit, and I'm seeing a lot of the curbs kind of demolishing, the cement's falling apart. So I was going to be talking, I don't know if, I believe John from DPW would be the right person to see if there could be anything that could be done with those, because I do not want clumps of cement rolling off the curbs and getting into the roadway, to avoid any kind of traffic accidents or anything like that. So that is one thing that normally we don't have to do, but I'm seeing a lot of deterioration on them. And certainly, we actually, I don't know if you go through, but you'll see caution tape, like on the guardrail. That is for when they are doing their, the snow removing. We put that up there because that's a section where the curb is having an issue. So we don't want them hitting that, so it makes the toll attendants, when they're removing the snow, be aware of that section.
Okay.
So, but besides just, general maintenance out for outside landscaping and things like that, picking up, those would be the main things.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody
Very good.
else have anything?
Just, this is very much down the road, but after the upgrades to the bridge, there will be an O&M manual provided. So that'll be
Okay.
a teaching and learning moment for everybody, because there'll be some new O&M requirements with
Right.
different equipment.
Okay,
Just
Yeah.
heads up.
okay. Joe?
Yeah, I keep forgetting to ask you, and since you're here, and I'm sorry to slow this down a little bit, but I know that we own just west of the, I'm sorry, it would be east of the toll booths, and I know we maintain the streetlights there. Those lights that have gone in there, those kind of purple, you know what I'm talking about? Reminds me of my old lava lamp, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
What
Now,
are those there for?
some of those lights, some of those are not ours. Some of those telephone poles, the poles with the lights, are DTE.
Oh, we don't have to maintain those?
No, they actually came out and did a review on some, and one is actually labeled to be replaced.
I didn't know that, okay.
Yeah, so there's certain ones that we do own, there's certain ones
But
that you
with
do
the
not.
purple lights that are in
I
there,
believe that one is the
is there
purple
a
light.
reason they
No,
put
I
those
think
in?
it's just what they put in.
Kinda,
I know.
it's not really a better light, and it's not an LED, well, it might be an LED purple light, but it's not.
Yeah. That's something when they come out, and they told me it would be sometime in spring, and they're supposed
So
to
they're gonna
notify
do
me.
something, okay,
They're
that's
gonna
all.
replace one pole. They actually went through and checked
I
theirs.
got you. I didn't mean to slow you down.
Oh, that's
I
okay.
keep forgetting to ask you when I see
Yeah.
you, and I didn't want to call you on
I
something
can
like that.
request that and see if they can put
Well,
some kind of
I
different.
thought we
just the-
maintained all the lights to the roadway, that we own the roadway. That's what I thought.
Yeah, no, there are some that DT owns.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
Where are these lights at? By the toll plaza?
They're just east of the toll plaza, and they're purple. There's 3 of them.
Yeah, they're on the
And
south
they're really
side.
like bizarre looking.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't fit and it doesn't help. At nighttime, I'm telling you, it doesn't give more light than an LED
Yeah, I agree.
would give. It's just not, don't know what it is. Thank you,
So-
though.
You're welcome. Anything else I can
We're
share
good.
with you?
Thank you.
No?
Thank you
Okay.
very
Thank
much.
you.
We appreciate
you,
all
Maureen.
you're doing.
No problem.
Maureen, thank you
Thank
for
you.
everything. And thank you, you always answer your phone right away. That's very nice of you.
We all do that for you, Joe.
Not everybody.
Okay. Well, I was mentioned earlier that I wanted to get some update on the valet manager, but I think we pretty much covered that early on, unless anybody else has any questions.
No.
And relative to the logo competition, I've asked Christine to kind of take the lead on that, and she's agreed to do that. So I'd like to feed her the comments we have. What I saw so far in everybody's ranking, we don't have an obvious winner, so we need to do some thinking about that and where we're going. So if you'd take that lead, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you. And also, what do we do with it at the end? What do we say to people who submitted, especially the children that submitted? And what do we do for them? So all that'll be part of that process. You have any further update on that?
Yeah, so I'll just jump ahead because I think we're a little bit down the road. So because there wasn't necessarily consensus amongst the Bridge Commission members, I think there were like a top 12 or 14 or something like that, that was eventually put together and distributed to the community through the website. And our communications department went ahead and solicited voting amongst the residents to determine what the community thought was number one. And I believe, in speaking with the deputy clerk today, they received something like 6,000 votes from the public.
Terrific.
For what they felt to be the top one. And of the 6,000 votes, the one that you see on the screen in front of you received about 3,500 of those votes.
Wow.
Wow.
What
and
number was this, Derek?
This was number 21, I believe, which actually was the aggregate number one of this group. So most of you had this as your number one, I believe. So there was quite a bit of participation, obviously, from the community, and pretty overwhelming amount of those voted for the one that you see before you. So I guess in saying all that, the comments regarding where we go from here that you had mentioned is definitely something that I would like to know from you. I know that there were some questions about what the intent of this was. Being aware of the financial position of the toll bridge and not wanting to spend any money unnecessarily. I don't think that the township had intended in doing this to use this for a wholesale, signage changeover at the bridge or anything like that. But moving forward, we did not want to use the Grosse Bridge Company logo on any kind of letterhead or correspondence or any kind of, patches or hats or whatever we're going to do, if we're going to do anything for the staff down there, at the bridge or otherwise. So it was more associated with, our letterhead, our logos on our website, any kind of clothing or anything like that. So that was kind of the intent with all of this. But to the chairman's point, I think there was a lot of, interest in the logo competition. There were a lot of people that put a lot of time into making their submittals, and be very interested in hearing your comments as how best to honor those submittals. So
Can you repeat again how many votes there were for number 21?
I'll email you the exact numbers,
Okay.
but I believe they're just over 6,000 total, and I believe 3,500 of those were for this one.
Very good.
I don't know if Brian, as communications, put that on the website, but it was really well done. It's easy to access.
Well, since we've had some public voting, do you still want me to take this on, or?
Sure, you
should-
can still spearhead it from the
Okay,
commission.
I'd be happy
Yes.
to. If you have any ideas about what we might do to recognize some of the children, all of the children who submitted
Should all be
logos, I would welcome that.
Hmm?
I would love to see all of them receive something or have some kind of, the public being made aware of their participation.
I'll make an announcement at the board if you like.
I'd like that.
Okay,
Not just the winner, I mean. Not, and we'll just go through as a group and say thank you to everyone and whatever you like.
right.
Great.
And we already have a website presence on the township website, so that'd be
Yeah.
where people voted. It'd be a great place to circle back.
Yeah, no, we always put everything that we do that, at like the board, we put it on the website.
Yeah.
That's an automatic.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other things in discussion items that anybody'd like to add?
None here.
Can I just bring something up?
Absolutely.
What I want to do is, the last month or so, this group has put in so many hours to just say thank you. I mean, I realize I've been a part of, I've watched commissions and, you know, there's commissions that you can just go to and it's a good thing, and there's people that work hard, men and women on the commissions of Grosse Township, that's the backbone of the community and running this township. And I just want to say thank you to you four. You put in so many hours to just this last month, especially with H&H, the meetings, the Zooms. I just appreciate it. We've got a group of individuals with each of them having brings a special expertise to this group. And I don't mind stealing that knowledge. So I thank you. And I use it. I use it a lot. I listen to you. I thank you. You're not just showing up at meeting night. I mean, you're putting, you know, just in those meetings where we figured out, Derek and I, around 14 or 15 hours just with H&H in the last how many weeks. And so anyway, I appreciate it. I appreciate what you do. I appreciate how you do it. You come, you're prepared. I'm not going to compare this to other commissions at all. We have some very hardworking people on all our commissions, men and women that do a great job. But I think that the talent that we brought on this one, and each having again that certain expertise and molded together as a group, it's really a very much a symbiotic relationship. And the people of Grosse need to know that this toll bridge is going to be done better to get on and off Grosse. It's going to be changed for people to get on and off Grosse. It's going to be run like a business correctly and efficiently, which it should be. And I mean, it's really the core of this is really you four. Now, of course, yes, I am in this group too, but I obviously don't have the expertise in any of the areas except the traffic engineering. It's the only area on a bridge. You know, I have nothing else. But I've learned from you, and my job is to put it all together, and that's what I do. But I just want to thank you for what you do, the time you've spent away from your families, and we know that it's tedious work. I mean, it's numbers, it's budgets, it's, I guess you get it. I'm greasing you a little too much maybe. I don't want you to slide out of those chairs, but just, what you've put into this is very impressive. And the people of Grosse need to know that, because you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for them. Just like all this engineering that's going to come down to make it better to come back to Grosse when there's a closure on the other bridge. You know, it's a huge undertaking. That's huge. We're going to rearrange the road, the toll booth area. We're trying to make things better for everyone. We put the cameras up to make it better for you. So once again, I just want to say thank you. I know I've said that before, but when I watch some things, I don't think others would get a chance to see what you do, know what you do, unless somebody relays it to them. And that's all I'm trying to do right now. So just thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
And I want to say too, it's very impressive working with Derek, who seems to be on top of everything. I do not know how he does it. And what a great decision you made in the township hiring H&H, it seems to me, based on the meetings we've had with them so
Yes.
far.
Yeah.
It helped us out.
They're doing a fine
lot
job
of
for the
different ways.
township.
Yes.
Thank you for recognizing them too. I'm sorry I didn't,
Yeah.
but thank you.
They're a renowned company, been around for a long, long
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Well,
I
you're very
appreciate the
welcome,
comments,
and I thank you.
and I-
mean, that's,
Echo your sentiments to everybody else that's on this board, you know, Teresa, Derek. I always wonder, how does Derek do all that he does, you know? But I'm impressed. And Maureen, everything you're doing to keep that rolling is terrific.
we
So,
got a great team.
so thank you very much. We're open for public comment here again before the meeting closes, if anybody has anything. Please state your name and
Okay.
for the record.
Greg Carmazin, 21228 East River Road. Wanted to follow up on Supervisor Porcelli's comments. This is the first time I've attended one of the Bridge Commission meetings, but I've been watching diligently since the beginning of the commission. And I will echo his compliments that the professionalism, the thoroughness, the attentive to detail that the members of this commission are providing to this vitally important issue of the community is very impressive. And, you know, having been involved in the bridge company over the years, I've had a number of, you know, insights into the operations of the bridge, toll bridge and county bridge, and I will say that, you know, I'm very impressed by everything that's being done by the members of the commission, Derek and Maureen. You know, I agree that it is a fantastic team that you've assembled here, and I do hope that more people in the community do watch these meetings and pay attention to what's going on here, because there was obviously quite a bit of skepticism about the whole proposition of the township taking on this responsibility in the very beginning. And, you know, I was among, you know, members of the community that thought, you know, this is absolutely critically important for the community to take on this, township to take on this responsibility. And I think that the fact that, you know, the work that you're doing here really shows that the township is capable of doing this and is doing a great job so far. And I hope that those people that, you know, didn't support the township purchasing the bridge and taking on this responsibility will perhaps, you know, watch what's going on and develop a little higher degree of confidence that the township can do it. And those that did support it, you know, I think they can be, you know, they can rest assured that, you know, their support was well intentioned and was well worthwhile. So one of the other reasons I came here tonight, though, is to offer a suggestion on what really is a detail. But I'm also on the board of the Grosse Historical Society, and we're working with the township and other members of the community on the 250th anniversary of Grosse's deeding, which will take place on July 6th of this year, just 2 days after our national 250th celebration of independence. And, you know, among the ideas that have been proposed for celebrating and commemorating the anniversary, I was reminded of back in 1976, when I was a young member of the community, that the toll bridge did a really nice job. The Smoke family did a really nice job of decorating the entrance and exit of the toll bridge with some patriotic imagery and putting the dates of the community in the celebration of the bicentennial on the entrance and exit of the bridge on both the Grosse Hill side and the Riverview side. And I know obviously there are a lot of concerns about expenses, and there's a tremendous amount of things that you're having to deal with, but I would say that was very well received in the community, and it was a nice memory for those of us that were here in the community. And it was a reminder of how special Grosse is and how important this anniversary is to the community to have that on the bridge, so that not just the residents could see it, but also anybody that is coming in and visiting the island. So I would offer that as a suggestion as you're thinking about things that you could do down at the bridge. I do like the logo here. It's a real fine submission from the community. But anyways, that was my comment for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Question, would you be a contact person for us to deal with? Or
With the Grosse Historical Society?
Yes,
Sure,
right.
I'd be
Yeah.
more than willing to do that, yeah.
Yeah. Make sure I get your information here before I leave.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
Maureen, do you remember what the bridge did?
Not in '76.
Boy,
And it was the year anniversary for 100 years. We did quite a few, quite a lot of things.
I think the sign's still up there, isn't
We
it?
had like a duck race underneath the bridge. You know, people got to, we would just give them a duck and they would put their number on it. And, you know, we did quite a few different ideas. We handed things out. We gave little bags for tokens that said Grosse Seal Bridge, and that you could carry your tokens in. We had those. That's what this was. The fun run runoff, where we closed it and people either could run it or walk it. You know, we did that for Saturday morning. So there was a lot of different activities that we did throughout that month.
Yeah,
for
good.
the 100th year.
Mr. Chairman, do you think we could ask the bridge manager to put together some ideas for us? to
I think
follow
that
through
sounds
on
like a
this?
great idea. Yeah,
I'd love to.
That'd be great.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, this could be great. Any other comments from the floor?
Hello, Mark Mills, 23509 West River. I kind of want to echo what the supervisor already said and what Mr. Kramer's already said. You guys do a fantastic job. Thanks for putting the time and effort into this to get this thing rolling. I know this probably hasn't been easy from jump, and I'll let it go with that. Like the supervisor said, he already did enough greasing, so. But nice work, thank you very much. And thank you for taking the time to talk about the Wallman contract. I know once it gets to a board level, I think having a solid document would do everybody well. Probably cut down on some of the conversation may take forth at that particular meeting. So if we could have something submitted with no red lines in it, that would be perfect. Certainly appreciate it, and thank you for taking that on. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you.
And thank you again for your comments again at this meeting. All right. No other further comments from the floor? Then I guess a motion to adjourn is in order.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.